Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to A Day at Work with Brian Arrington.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Glad you can make it.
thanks for joining us, Brian. And we're here today to talk about a day at work as a business initiatives consultant at Wells Fargo, correct?
Yeah, mouthful. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, before we get started, it's a silly question. What is Wells Fargo?
Yeah, so Wells Fargo is a bank. They offer, obviously regular banking. You have consumer lending. You have commercial real estate, corporate and investment banking. So your big corporate companies that do banking, they can do banking with Wells for multiple millions and millions of dollars that are out there. So they're international. So Wells Fargo is global. We even have employees all over the world. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it's a major bank. Just I use one of your competitors. I'm not going to give them props on your session here since you're taking
all right.
But it's a major bank with everything that comes with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's Fortune 29 on the Fortune 500 list.
Okay. So you should have just started with that. Well, we're number 29, and we would have been good. And you're huge too. I think do you have like 100,000 employees or something like that?
We had 200,000 employees, and we're going through a little restructuring, but it's for the best.
Yep. Okay, so let's get down to it then. So thanks for joining me this afternoon. Really excited. I've always wanted to know, what do you really do? Like business initiatives consultant. So what is that?
So I'm a big three. There's four different ranks, if you will. For those watching that only understand the ranking system, and it's just a rating scale of a pay band. But I'm a big three, business initiative consultant 3. And what I do each day is I work to create a environment and workplace that helps each work stream that I'm working on, each project, to come up with solutions and to create deliverables, which I'll get into in a little bit, to help make sure a project reaches a milestone it can be multiple milestones to lead to success. So I actually work in the corporate and investment banking line of business for Wells Fargo, and underneath that in the regulatory control. So that's a lot to say, but really what it is think of in the Air Force, for those watching, because I was Air Force, so excuse me, but if you were ever on the wing inspection team and you went from a squadron or to a wing, and you would go and look at another squadron or another group or a wing or another base to see how they were functioning, how they were working, that's how you would be basically a consultant at Wells Fargo, but you'd be an internal one. And you're going to look at their different processes to see what's working. A term that many of you might know, or some of you might know, is like DMAIC: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Because you're doing that same thing in the military right now. We'll get into that during the questions phase.
So am I right in saying, I thought before when we chatted ahead of time that it was like an IG, Inspector General, but you're not. You're really more like a command assistance visit. You're the people that come in before the inspection to make sure everybody has everything right to meet the regulatory requirements.
Exactly. And then there's another section above it, we call the SEO. And those are the IG people. So that's who we
SEO, search engine optimization.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah, strategic engagement office. So
cool.
So we send that up to them, and that they would be able to help that out. That's we gain the information, the knowledge on what is the processes that are happening, and then we up-channel that information for them to audit.
So I got to ask this question, and we'll go to the questions, but I want to learn first. Sorry, everybody. You were is it MP or an SP? What were you in
SF.
there?
Yeah. So we're security forces.
Security, yes. Security forces.
Yeah.
So you were the police for the Air Force.
Correct. Military
So
police. But we did a little bit of everything because we're the grunts of the Air Force.
How does a policeman, woman, officer from the Air Force? I understand a little bit like compliance, but how do you get to be a senior business initiatives consultant for Fortune 29, telling people how to get financial things to meet regulatory requirements? Like, how does that even, like, I feel like we're missing something in between there, right?
So fortunately, I don't deal with anything financial, which is really odd. So I don't have to deal with anything financial. Everything is process, risk management, controls. Everything that I did in the military goes really hand in hand because it's about building relationships, identifying stakeholders, especially being a senior non-commissioned officer. You deal with this all the time. You need something, you have a specific work stream or work stream champion that is, has the widget, if you will, the process flow, knows the actions that need to be done. And you have to get that information to this other work stream because they have another piece of the puzzle, and you bring them together to talk about the project and synchronize that, and you help build the PowerPoint or the Excel document and get all the tasks packaged up. You present that material to the higher executives, and then you create an actual product with all of these different pieces coming together that wouldn't have happened without you.
So you're making sure that it, like, there's a requirement, it needs to have X, Y, and Z, and you bring the teams together to make sure X, Y, and Z gets done and gets done right.
100%.
Okay, so now here's the question.
Answer.
Sounds like a fun, like an exciting job.
Yeah.
Be open and honest with us.
Yeah.
Day one, when you walk in and they're like, blah, I saw your nose twitch. So what was it like?
Okay, so I wrote a couple articles about this on my LinkedIn about my transition, which are kind of funny, but it's all real. So my first day, there was a lot of language that I didn't understand. So the hardest part of the transition for me, and it still is a year and 6 months after being at Wells Fargo, is the corporate language. Acronyms kick my butt because when I'm doing PowerPoints or I'm reading, going to Zoom meetings, there'll be a PowerPoint presentation where there's like acronym, the, from, the, acronym. And unlike in the military where we usually have to spell out the acronym name first and then the acronym, there's so little space to maneuver that everybody just puts acronyms in, and it's just expected everybody knows it. Now we have a dictionary, right? But it covers all the different lines of businesses, and not all lines of businesses have the same acronyms. So that's my hardest part. But I also, the culture fit was a little different.
Yeah, of course.
For a couple examples, so how many people would, on their first day of corporate America, go up to their boss and ask them if they can use the restroom? Yeah.
You did that?
I did that. I did that for about 3 days because of accountability. I was security forces.
You never had to go to the bathroom when you were in the Air Force, did you?
We had to get called. If you
were on station somewhere to leave.
Yep, accountability. So
what did you like when you did that? Or
he was like, yeah, go, like whatever. And then the third day of me doing this, he said, Brian, if you're gonna ask me again, we're gonna have issues. Don't have to ask me to go to the bathroom. Just go. And this is very embarrassing, but this is real, and I'm saying it because everybody's going to have that moment in the outside that they're going to like do something that they did in the military. I did a change step to be in line with my boss on the second day of work, getting to a building. I did in a suit and tie on the middle of the street at Duke Energy Center, walking to Wells Fargo 2. I did a change step because I was not in perfect sync with my boss. So true
Did they
story.
notice? And
He
say
thought
why?
I tripped. He thought I tripped. I'm in dress shoes, a tie, and a suit jacket, and I'm doing a change step.
All right. Well, we might have to end up going 30 minutes on this one because this is fun. But I'm going to try to get us back on track. I got a question from David Trenholm here. He said, "Were you a direct hire or did you join through a veteran hiring program?"
I was actually a direct hire, and I didn't even know about the Wells Fargo veteran program. They have a phenomenal veteran hiring program. I actually got in because of a great gentleman who was my mentor for a year at that time, Justin Pearson.
Justin?
Yeah, Justin's everywhere. So if you are not following Justin Pearson, and his stuff is about to blow up, you have to follow Justin Pearson. He just recently moved on to a great role at AFMA insurance company. Actually, they do a lot of good work for the military. Phenomenal campus in DC. But he was a military sourcer for Wells Fargo. And another funny story about this is when I figured out that I wanted to be a consultant, I didn't even know what a consultant was until 6 months before I got out the military.
Yeah.
I had wanted to be a marketing manager that whole time.
Yep.
And I had no background in marketing. Well, I didn't have any background in consulting that I thought either.
Yeah. So let's get into that. If we bring Justin into it, we may actually stop the veteran world. You, Justin, and me on LinkedIn at the same time. Probably.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. That'd be dangerous.
So let's get back to the informational interview piece. And I throw up here for people to see what questions do they have. But let's talk about it. Like, what is your day like? So talk to me about this. I know we talked about, give me an overview of your day, how many projects you are, what your day starts like,
Okay. Go. So my day job is really, we focus on one main project, the consultants. So I've worked 3 projects in the year and 6 months that I've been there. So I'm on my 3rd project now. The first project was about 4 months in length. Then I was on a project for about 6 months, and I've been working on this project for about 7-8 months now. And this project is really important. I can't say what exactly it is, but my day-to-day is, I'll say how it started. First thing you do on a project at Wells Fargo is you learn who else is on the project with you. There's different subject matter experts in each of the areas. So you have a project manager. You're going to have a work stream champion, somebody that's really familiar with the process or the policies that you're going to be going through. And then there's going to be other people in other sections that bring another piece of the puzzle, like from risk or whatever could possibly be going on. Different projects call for different specialties. All right. When a business initiative consultant is brought on, and we could have multiple business initiative consultants on a project, we'll also usually have a business initiative manager on a project as well, just kind of overseeing, or business senior manager. And they'll be working that project. What we do is we identify how long the project is, what the scope is, to make sure we don't go outside and do something called scope creep. We identify the timeline. We identify all the stakeholders. Now, I didn't even know what a stakeholder was before I got the job at Wells Fargo. But a stakeholder is anyone in that realm of influence that could be affected by any of the processes or any of the deliverables that are brought at. Customers are stakeholders. And then for those of you who are interested in getting into Wells Fargo, one thing that you should learn is the RACI model. All right. It stands for responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. It's different levels of responsibility for a project. Who needs to be talked to at what level, and who's responsible for the project or accountable for it. So really what it is we assign different levels of the project to certain individuals, and then the consultants work with the work stream champions on however many work streams they're working on. Like I'm working with 2 specific work streams out of 5, and my other the other BIC that's working with me is working on the other 3. She's a little senior to me. She's been doing this a lot longer. And when any of them, if any of the consultants that are assigned to a work stream don't have the ability to continue on, or they go on some kind of leave or paternity leave or something like that, we go in and we take up their roles and responsibilities.
Okay, so you're an internal consultant, right?
Correct.
That helps with projects across the Wells Fargo's enterprise, right?
Right, and we get selected to go on the project. We don't pick our projects.
You have an experienced manager, somebody that manages the process. When they build out a project, they look within Wells Fargo for anybody that has the bandwidth to support. Now, as internal consultants, I know you're a business initiatives consultant, but I'm assuming, are you guys broken down by expertise, or by like not all business initiative consultants are the same, right? Some have expertise in compliance, others have expertise in financial or whatever, right?
Yeah, so I'm brought in for the compliance control, specifically risk. So they bring me in for that. But yeah, I haven't really, because I've only been on 3 projects. I've only been in for a year, or been in here for a year and 6 months. I haven't had a lot of experience with a lot of the different consultants yet. But we also partner with external consultants. So we've had EY and PwC.
Great company. Not a great company. Good thing you started with EY.
Yeah. But they come in and they help out with us on projects, as with whatever scope of the project they have access to, and then whenever their contract's up. Or
so if you don't have the skill set or the expertise within
bring it in,
and you look outside for it. But you are basically the business consultants for inside the firm for any of the large projects, engagements, acquisitions, anything like that. They'll build a team of internal consultants to address that. So that's interesting.
We'll even do things called move the line. So if there needs to be a change management going on, we help identify how that change should happen, who needs to be notified when, what impact that will due to that specific line of business, how to strategize. So a bit.
Sounds like it's like a 9-to-5 job. Is that true, or is it a little more, a little less?
It depends. I'm gonna give you the consultant answer.
Good. I'll take it. It depends on how much work you have to do. Right, you're getting paid salary. Good answer. I don't want you to get in trouble. So travel, any pre-COVID, any travel involved?
Well, I did one travel, but it was up to New York. It was like 3 weeks after I started. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. Just bring me to New York. But it was more like we went there as consultants on an internal project, and it was a week-long. Just instead of doing it on Zoom, because it wouldn't have worked. It had to be hands-on. So it was all internal Wells Fargo employees. We were working, doing an HR thing, helping the HR team out. And after the week, me and one of the senior managers, who was actually my peer, he was a senior manager, then came back to Georgia, but to Charlotte, excuse me. But yeah, it was good.
So they built a team to go for an in-person consulting event internally.
It's only when it's necessary. It's by necessity.
Can you kind of broad stroke walk me through your day tomorrow? Like, I get up, I start at 8:30. I've got 5 Zoom meetings. I got an hour for lunch. I'm going to work.
Tomorrow's pretty busy. So, tomorrow, I get up. My first call is actually at 9:30, which looks like to be a Zoom call. Actually, it's a Zoom call, and then I have another call at 12 o'clock, which is another Zoom. It's actually a one-on-one with my manager. So we're going to be talking about, or it's our weekly call. So we'll be talking about things that I'm doing and if I have capacity to do other things within the work stream or helping other people out. Then we have another meeting. As best as I can say. I can't say what I'm working on.
No, don't say it. Just how many meetings? Like
1, 2, 3, 4. I have five scheduled meetings tomorrow. Some of the things that you all need to know how to do, especially if you want to come into Wells Fargo, is definitely be familiar with Zoom. Definitely be good with PowerPoint, because right now we're all working from home.
PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're talking about the Army.
Oh yeah, you gotta be a PowerPoint ranger, especially if you want to be a business initiative consultant, because that's the majority of what we do is taking a product in its raw form and making it into something presentable to senior staff, just like you did in the military. You making sure everything is standardized, making sure there's no mistakes, and you're gonna find mistakes. You're the attention to detail as a consultant. So
in the time, and again, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and add them in here and I'll highlight the questions to Brian. But so Brian, in the meantime, so what are you doing in the time you're not in these Zoom calls? Are you like
a lot of time I'm reading
products, reviewing stuff?
So it depends. I hate saying the consultant.
It's okay. Brush stroke's fine.
Yeah, it depends on what piece of a project I'm working on at a time. So it could be developing more relationships with the team members within the work streams. It could be building a product for one of the work streams. It could be doing the weekly updates to slide presentations. Could be sending emails to our SEO partners, to look over something, or it could be emailing the workstream champion saying, I need this by this time, so that then I can send it and submit it up to SEO. Or it could be me reading the risk management framework, guide. So for those of you who don't know, if you're familiar, now the Air Force has the IDRMP, Integrated Defense Risk Management Framework. The DoD has like a risk management framework. Well, Wells Fargo has a risk management framework. So the language that you learn outside about how to protect risk is extremely important at Wells Fargo. I'm sure it is at most companies out there, because if you're not taking care of the risks and mitigating them, you're in for a rude awakening. So use your knowledge about risk and risk mitigation for the company, and make sure you're addressing that in your resume and in your interview. You have extreme experience with risk mitigation. Make sure that is said multiple times during your interview and multiple times in your resume, because companies want to see how you can handle risk, because I'm telling you, you're in a better place than you think you are.
No, I hear you. So I got a couple questions. I want to make sure I give the audience a chance. So Zachary's asked, do you attribute any specific skill set of yours to obtaining this position? And is this what you were pursuing? And I know we talked about 6 months prior, you didn't even know what a stakeholder was or a consultant. So how did you articulate security forces, senior enlisted, did somebody just say, hey, you'd make a great business initiatives consultant? Or did you say, I did this and this is why I'd be great at this?
So Justin Pearson told me that, why don't you come work for Wells Fargo? And I said, I don't want to be a teller. And he said, no, man, we've got consultant positions. I said, you do? And he said, yeah. And I did research on Wells Fargo, fell in love with it because the Pony Express rid for Wells Fargo, which literally was a deciding factor for me to move to work for Wells Fargo. But it was really, I left off security forces from my my resume. All I talked about was what I did in security forces, the skills I had in risk mitigation, in DMAIC, in defining a problem, measuring it, analyzing it, but at the gates or going on winning inspection teams, improving the product and showing that improvement through after action reports. That's how you control things.
Yep.
You can't necessarily say you are going to do this, Sergeant Major, but you can leave them an after action report, and whether or not they take it or not is up to them. It's the same thing for a consultant. Yep. People aren't going to always take what you say. Matter of fact, most of the time they probably won't. They're going to do what they want to do. But if you make a concerted effort to actually put together a true product of value, you've done your job.
Right.
That's what a consultant doesn't get paid for. If somebody does what they say to do, did you put in your best value, best foot to really help that customer or that client?
And give them the information they need to make their most educated decision, their best decision, but ultimately the decision's theirs, right?
Yep.
So we've got Jonathan Fisher said, does Wells Fargo want candidates to have experience with financial services?
Only if you go into a financial services spot in Wells Fargo. If you're going for a banking position that really requires you to understand finances and accounting, yeah. But if you're not pursuing that, and that's all about the job description. You look at the job description. Is it asking for that? If it's not asking for that, like for me, it didn't ask for me to be able to balance a checkbook, thankfully, because I don't know how.
And I think that'll be the same for just about any Fortune 500 company, is they're not just going to have skills in their one domain. They've got everything needed to support an organization that size. So like Amazon's not all operations and managers and area managers and general managers. They've got all the HR, recruiting, financial support, and it's the same for any other company out there. So I've got Jason said, how can someone get in contact with the military talent recruiting team for Wells Fargo?
Oh, very good, Jason. So Jason's with Wells Fargo. So I'll just tell everyone just get a hold of Jason Keller.
You just sold him out. I didn't realize that. Jason, that was some cool, shady stuff. I like it.
No, but we have an awesome Wells Fargo team. Sean Passmore is on there. He's a lead. Eric Schlachter is another individual that you all should reach out to, especially if they're wanting to go through the veteran pipeline. You have, oh gosh, help me out, Jason. There's so many of them.
But they could also just connect with you or Jason, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get them.
Sean's information and Eric's information in a banner. People can look them up on LinkedIn. But when it comes to, you could also reach out to Jason, reach out to Brian. I mean, you have from what I gather, you've got a pretty large veteran population at Wells Fargo that they could.
Yeah, it's huge. And we have veteran resource groups. For those of you who don't know what a veteran resource group is, in 5 seconds, a veteran resource group is a group of veterans organization within the Wells Fargo or any company that promotes military support to those internal and their families. I mean, you got to get involved in your company. If your company doesn't have one, start it for your company. Okay. But
it's also a great way for service members, veterans, military spouses that want to join an organization to reach out. I'm assuming Wells Fargo takes referrals.
Yes, they do.
They interview or at least look at the resume of a referral pretty much.
Yeah. So internal referrals are huge. Do not apply before you get an internal referral. All right. If you apply and then ask for an internal referral, you're not going to get it because that's not how our system works. So if you're interested in an internal referral, then get with me or Jason or someone else to talk to. Don't just reach out to us and say, hey, I want a job at Wells Fargo. Get to know us first. Okay. So
last question. I've got Dr. Thomas Easterly asking, what was your education level and does Wells Fargo help you further your education? Now, what I'd like you to address, I'll take it a step further though, is, do you need a master's degree to do what you're doing? Do you need a bachelor's degree to come join Wells Fargo? Is there room for growth? And do they have educational or training support?
So, Dr. Easterly, it all depends, again, on what the job description is asking for. So there's many jobs in there. Since you're a doctor, obviously you're going to be looking for some of the more senior roles, depending on what you're a doctor of, or have a master's degree in. I was working on my 5th and 6th degree, 2nd and 3rd master's degree. But my hiring manager, I actually asked him 4 days after he hired me, did my education, me a year into my MBA, play a factor in this? Because I already had a master's in management. He said, no, your education didn't play any factor in it. We all have MBAs in here. And you didn't, but that wasn't the factor. So it's also up to the hiring manager. So I can't say it's not like a widespread rule across Wells Fargo. You will hire somebody for this. It all depends on the hiring manager and what they put in that job description and how much they weigh education. But Wells Fargo weighs education very high in helping to get it. So they give $5,000 a year in tuition reimbursement for school. So
that's fantastic. So I guess my advice would be, for a company with 200,000 plus employees, there's a lot of vacancies, a lot of service lines and opportunities all over the world. Would I be correct in saying the best course of action for any veteran, service member, military spouse that wants to join Wells Fargo to reach out to a veteran that's at Wells Fargo, or reach out to the veteran recruiting team and have a conversation with them about, maybe figure out what you want to do first, but be open to other opportunities as well. Don't just go to them and say, what do you got for me at Wells Fargo?
Yes, please don't do that.
Right. Like, hey, Brian, I noticed this opportunity for a business initiatives consultant 1. I believe it'd be a great fit for that role. You got a few minutes to chat about it? Like,
absolutely.
Right. Okay,
absolutely.
great.
That's how to do it. And if I can't personally help you out, I've got a whole team in my other job.
Yeah.
My other nonprofit.
Go ahead. So we're actually 13 minutes over. We'll close, Brian. You've got 60 seconds to talk about V2I. All right. I got you. Go ahead.
So Wells Fargo does not endorse best industry. So best industry is something I do on the side to give me a passion. But best industry is a platform, website that provides free resources and benefits knowledge to veterans, military spouses, dependent children, Blue and Gold Star family members, and caregivers, with a huge library of resources. We have over 1,000 resources right now on the website. We also host a veteran virtual networking circuit event where we have transitioning service members along with military spouses. We have Fortune 500 companies along with veteran service organizations come to the event as well. Our next one is on the 9th. It's a little sold out. We have about 69 people in the wait list and 500 people that are already there. But you'll follow Best Industry hashtag. Join our Best Industry group on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and follow. Get on our distro list as well on our website.
So I got to help you with your branding. You started off with we're a website, so that's horrible. So look, you're a community of people in the veteran family. You've built a community of people in the veteran community, right? A community that provides resources, networking event, connections, informational interviews to help service members, veterans, and military spouses transition to find their success.
I'm humble.
You can be humble, but you still got to brand your crap better. You can't just say website. I mean, it may have started as a website, but it grew to something different. Yeah, so there, we've given equal value for our informational interviews today. And I'm just harassing you, of course. I love what you
I love it.
I love the team that you've built. Everybody's giving back. And most importantly, I love the time you spent today sharing with us, your day at Wells Fargo. And hopefully it really, opened people's eyes as to some of the opportunities in the banking community. at large, and especially at Wells Fargo, which has been recruiting a lot of veterans lately. So thanks again, Brian.
Let me say,
yep, go ahead.
The easiest thing that at Wells Fargo and for all of you is that the ability to go with the change, with the flow. It's going to be your best attribute, your best course. Things change so much, but your ability to adapt is what's going to make things so easy for you.
Awesome. Thanks again, Brian, and hope you have a happy 2021.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be golden.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.